one moment to look at all of the art and all of the culture, whether it's the Muni, the Fox, the Rep, right, the art museums and all that. Our next guest is getting a lot of attention for I don't know if it's an exhibit or what it is, but it's getting a lot of attention on the World Wide Web, as they like to call it. Mike DiFilippo is a photojournalist. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for joining us here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hi, McGraw. Thanks for having me on.
So what you did is you went around St. Louis and you took pictures of neighborhoods, but not in a normal way. What did you do?
Well, I'm a photographer. I'm a commercial photographer by trade, and this is me playing golf. This is me doing photography for the pure joy of it. This is a project I want to see. So I basically gave myself a challenge for my 60th birthday because it's the 60th anniversary of the interstate highway system, and I'm a history buff. So I like to do photo projects that have a historical connection. And in March, in anticipation of the June anniversary of the interstate highway system, I started this project. And I got busy with work, so I then stretched it to the deadline being my birthday in August. And got it done the night before with the opening shot that's in the Huffington Post that you saw the Huffington Post article, right?
Right.
I mean, the night before, on the eve of my birthday, I live in the High Point neighborhood, and a lightning storm, I could see it rolling in. And I'm like, I got to get this. I just go out at the Clayton Avenue overpass by Dewey School and set up, and 20-second exposure and a few of those, and there it is, So I have fun at photography as well as work at photography. So this is me taking pictures.
And what you did was, with the pictures around town, you sort of showed how the interstate just ripped right through neighborhoods. It is a impact study. It is a collision of a 20th century transportation system that's only 60 years old with a city that's 252 years old. And St. Louis was laid out, first along pedestrian and boat and footpath and cart, and then rails and streetcars, and then automobiles, So it's the city that's evolved over time as a transportation center, got just ripped up by the road system, and Yeah, you look at 44 today, and you think when you drive on 44, you don't actually think that there were houses there and parks there and schools there, and so they took this path right through neighborhoods, right? On both, I mean, literally, if you look at the Tower Grove neighborhood, right, you've got that. It's just on both. You clearly see where there was houses all through where 44 are, but now, right through the hill.
Well, look at the hill.
Yeah.
Look at the hill. I mean, the interstates. The reason why I was able to get 40 neighborhoods out of the 80 neighborhoods in St. Louis that are touched by an interstate or bisected was because there's so many roads going in so many different directions, but a lot of the roads form boundaries between neighborhoods now. But a place like the Hill, it's bisected. It's on both sides of 44. And imagine, everybody loves the Hill. Imagine an uninterrupted system where the north and south side of the Hill are connected. It'd just be a different city.
And no matter what, say what you want about downtown, look at Highway 70, right? Oh. So look at where the Dome is, and they've done everything they can to get people to the landing, right? They've lowered it, they've raised it, they've covered it, but it is a barrier, whether you want to deal with it or not. That interstate highway, it's a barrier going places.
Yes, and it is that was the purpose for me, was to look at these barriers. I tried to include every pedestrian access bridge over the interstates. And if you look at it as a project looking at pedestrian access to the city, and you look at all the miles of interstates, it's meager, the amount of pedestrian bridges. But are there specific images that you want to talk about? I know it's hard talking about pictures on the radio.
Well,
people don't see them.
No. But I mean, they know enough to know that when when you talk about those pedestrian bridges, you think about the arch, right? You think of this beautiful arch grounds, and you had to walk over a service road or walk, by a service road, but walk over the internet. You took your life in your hands, and there was
well, that's one of the things that I show in this project at my portfolio. If you go to mdphoto.myportfolio.com and look at the second portfolio at the top bar, it'll take you to the project, and it's called the Interstate at 60, St. Louis at 252, 60 photos. And I wrote an introduction. I'm a writer as well, and I will use this as a signature piece in my business to try to get more work. This is
sure.
Yeah, it's something that I do. I have to promote myself.
Sure,
and,
but
the thing is, this type of editorial work it doesn't really exist much locally, or even everybody is doing stories about food and celebrities, and I can't really, find outlets for this stuff, so I had to do it for myself.
No, that's why it sort of caught my eye or caught my ear or both, because, you look at St. Charles, where the roads sort of were planned, and then the neighborhoods grew up around the roads, whereas in the city and the county, the neighborhoods grew up before the car was ever invented, and so you had to build these highways. Some say you didn't have to build them, but you built them, and then everybody got on them and then drove out to the county, destroying the neighborhoods that they were built right through. So we're shocked that the core of many of these inner cities were hollowed out, but look at what you did to them.
Yeah, one of the things I point out, and this is, it's easy to do conjecture and speculation on what if and, do we do the right thing. But the history of the interstate highways is they were designed for national defense, for the rapid deployment of troops from coast to coast, based on Dwight Eisenhower's personal experience as a soldier before World War I, all the way through his stint as Supreme Commander, Allied Commander in World War II. And he knew that America could not defend itself. And as a national defense system, it's a wonderful thing. They're great for commerce and growth and people transporting goods and moving freely throughout the country. But there are insidious theories that this was by design to plow through African American poor neighborhoods, slum busters, whatever they wanted to call them. That's not the point of my project, but that information is out there as well. I'm doing a visual study, but the visual study at times is an indictment of what happened, because I tried to look at really nice-looking buildings that, if you look at St. Louis, the people who live near the interstate and maintain their properties, they have a lot of grit. They have a lot of determination. Those are some tough, committed city people, and I met some of them. I talked to some of them. There's a picture of a house on Osceola Street in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood, and there's a truck trailer going by with cars on the back. And this guy came out and he was asking me questions. What are you doing? I said, he lived there all his life. It's his grandfather's house, and he said, it's been tough. There's people that will hang out in the bushes and live in the bushes on the edge of the interstate, and he's got to chase them off. And but he's planted roses. There's a bush of roses growing in front of his house. So to me, that speaks volume about the people of St. Louis.
No, you're right. It was a good point. When his grandfather bought it, there was just a house in a neighborhood, right? Imagine your house in your neighborhood, and all of a sudden they come knocking on your door and say, by the way, we're going to take your neighbor's house. It's going to be a ramp for an interstate, and your house isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, and sometimes it causes a trickle effect in the destruction, because who wants to live next to the road?
Right. No, that's why it sort of struck my ear, and that's what art does. Whether you're making a political statement or just making a comment about how we live today or how we got to where we are, that's why I wanted to get you on the show and talk about your stuff.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, this is a birthday challenge. Every year I try to give myself a birthday challenge. One year I played speed golf in Forest Park, which is, don't ever do that. And another year I rode my bicycle. When I was 55, I rode my bicycle length to the Jersey Shore in the equivalence of distance. I didn't do it all in one trip, but I did that. So this year was either do 60 pull-ups or do a photo project. And I can't do one pull-up, so I got to do a photo project.
How did you play speed golf in Forest Park?
The first one off the tee, 6 clubs, 3 in each hand. You hit the shot, and then you run from shot to shot, and you play for time and score. And I was in shape at the time, but one thing I didn't calculate was the morning dew, and it soaked through my shoes and socks and gloves. And it was like, oh my God, I didn't think about that.
No.
And I also didn't think about having to find the golf ball.
Yeah, that's sort of that's half the trick of playing golf. You got to hit it and then go find it.
I did it.
Mike DeFilippo, where can somebody go to see your pictures?
Well, it is on my portfolio website at mdphoto.myportfolio.com. The Interstate Project is the second one at the top. There's also a picture that looks like a Ku Klux Klan rally, but it's actually a Holy Week in Seville, Spain. But explore the portfolios. I did a portrait of America as a land of guns, where in 1993 I completed that, where I went to all contiguous 48 states and photographed a piece of artillery in each of the states doing, I call it the Local Ordnance Project, and it's military hardware in the American landscape. That's up there. There's a portfolio of Bob Castley, friend of mine.
Yeah, sure. So hold on. I'm on your website here, and I see portfolios. Click to view the buttons. So it's just on there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good.
And
I'll do that there.
The second one at the top, there's the Interstate at 60, St. Louis at 252.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Michael DeFilippo, thank you very much.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead.
Bye, McGraw.
No. Anything else you want to say?
Well, I think you're on my michaeldfilippo.com website. That's not the one.
Oh, what's the other one?
mdphoto.myportfolio.com.
Gotcha.
Okay.
MDphoto. myportfolio.com. I'll do that.
Thanks a lot for having me on, McGraw.
You got it. Good luck and happy birthday, I guess, huh? Right?
Thank you.
You got it. All right, thanks.
Bye.
921 here, Big 550.